Evening, ladies and gentlemen. The supervisors that haven't pushed your 10 button, would you please push your 10 button at this time? Also, as a reminder, cell phones, anybody in here got a cell phone, please put it on vibrate, mute, whatever, as long as it doesn't ring. With that then, I will call this county board meeting to order for Wednesday, May 24th. If we could then all rise for a moment of silent meditation, followed by our Pledge of Allegiance. Once again, I would ask you to please keep in mind our men and women serving in the armed forces here and abroad, also their parents, also our men and women in our protective services, and for some county board members that are having some health issues. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, if we could move right along. Our agenda may look long, but honestly, I don't think there's anything major here, and I've told Pam that we should be out of here in an hour and 15 minutes, and she said, why not an hour? So keep that in mind. You're welcome, Pam. Let's move on then to item 3 on our agenda is approval of the April County Board minutes. Is there a motion to approve those? Motion by John Zwizik, seconded by Amy Zeinert. Comments or questions? Anybody on last month's regular county board minutes? Okay, I see none. Then let's do this by acclamation. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 4 on our agenda, public comment. Anybody in the back wishing to comment on anything? I see none, so let's move forward then, please. Item 5, motion to deviate from the order of the agenda. Motion by Randy Young, seconded by Marvin Klosterman. Once again, by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 6, Chairman's Report. I have one thing. Last month we approved a resolution for living treasures. And I would like to read off the names of the individuals that were selected for 2017 Living Treasures of Shawano County. And they are Lloyd Kohler, Betty Kuhn, Judy Wetzel, and Clarence and Antoinette Netzel. Those are your living treasures in Shawano County for 2017. All of these individuals have been very active in one way or another, and justly deserve to be called living treasures, as anybody that is over 65. So that's going to leave a couple of people out, but we'll get there hopefully. Okay, let's move on to item 7, reading of petitions, memorials, communications, and claims to the board. Pam? None? Okay, thank you. Item 8 then on our agenda is resolution number 27-17. Please, Pam.
To approve changing the Assistant Deputy Register of Deeds position from part-time to full-time. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May 2017 that it approves adjusting the hours of the Assistant Deputy Register of Deeds positions so that it is full-time position at 37.5 hours per week for a total of 1,950 hours annually, effective upon passage of this resolution, submitted by the Planning, Development, and Zoning Committee and the Administrative Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Ken Capelli, seconded by Bill Burkhan. Ken, would you care to state a few words on this, please, for us?
I believe, and the committee believes, there's enough work there for a full-time position, and that the Finance Committee has approved or Zoning and Administrative Committee have approved where the revenue for this position will be generated within the Register of Deeds office. There will be no effect to the county budget.
Wait, it looks like the revenue is going to make up the difference in the office.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Anybody else? Comments or question on resolution number 27-17 at this time? Bob Kraus, please.
Not to nitpick this, but in reality, there's a cost to the county, because otherwise the money comes back to the county general fund. So I see it as a cost to the county. Yes, the revenue pays for it, but there's a lot of departments that pay for their revenue, for their employees. So in the future, I guess I'd just still like to see what the cost to the county is. And that's why I didn't call you today, Brent. I'm not asking for that today, but I think in the future, even though we generate the revenue to pay for the position, it's still a cost to the county. We should have that as listed, so.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Anybody else? Comments or question on resolution number 27-17 at this time? I see none. So if you are then in favor of resolution number 27-17, you would vote A at this time. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. A, 0 nays, so resolution number 27-17 has been adopted. Item 9 on our agenda is resolution number 28-17. Please, Pam.
To revise Appendix G of the Personnel Policies Manual. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that they approve changing Appendix G of the Personnel Policies Manual from requiring the insertion of a table of health insurance benefits to instead state that, please contact the Shawano County Department of Administration and Finance for an updated list of health insurance plan benefits and details, submitted by the Administrative Committee.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Kathy Lipke, seconded by Bill Swatala. Comments or questions? Brent, would you care to comment on this, please? Simple.
Yeah, what this is intended, every one of the employees is given through the open enrollment period, when we meet with them, a handout of what the plan design changes are, or what the plan design are for the next year. And the way the handbook is written, we would have to come back every year to make the change on Appendix G. This way it prevents us from having to come back and make those changes, because you guys have to approve them anyway. But then we would also have to change the handbook every year just for Appendix G. So the employees are given a copy at the open enrollment and through the briefings, and this prevents us from having to change the handbook every single year.
Okay, thank you, Brent. Deb Nofsky, do you have a comment or a question?
Yep, I remember why Appendix G got put in the handbook, because there was a time when creating the handbook that no one could seem to find the current health insurance grid. And I think the idea was that particular appendix would get replaced every year. It's just that it should be accessible. Any employee that wants to know what the health insurance coverage is should be able to find it. So, as long as you got a way to do that now, great.
Jerry, the other thing is it's available to every employee. They're given a hard copy in their hand, and it's also on our intranet, the ones that are available for county employees only. And if an employee doesn't have a computer, like at Highway, Grant or any one of the supervisors can pull it up at any time.
Okay. Thank you, Brent, again. Deb, is that it?
Okay, sounds like it's squared away now. That wasn't always the case.
No, but we take care of things one step at a time. Anybody else? Comment or question, please, on resolution number 28-17? I see none. So if you are then in favor of resolution number 28-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. A, 0 nays, so resolution number 28-17 is also adopted. Moving on to item 10 on our agenda, we have resolution number 29-17. Please, Pam.
To transfer funds from the contingency fund balance to various 2016 department budgets. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that a transfer of funds be authorized of $28,172.87 from the contingency fund balance to the 2016 appropriations for the following accounts: Register and Probate, $1,903.96, Emergency Management, $17,896.54, and Branch 2, $8,372.37. Total transfer from contingency fund balance, $28,172.87, submitted by the Finance Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Bob Kraus, seconded by John Zwizik. Comments or questions, please, on this resolution? Marvin Klosterman.
I was just wondering, like in the Emergency Management Department, how can they be so far off on their original budget that they're $17,000 short?
In their mitigation,
Where'd that voice come from?
it's me,
Oh, I'm glad you spoke up.
sorry. Under their mitigation grant, the funds for that grant didn't come through. There was supposed to be $25,000 that came through, and that has not come through yet, so we're checking up on that.
So not come through yet, is there a possibility?
Yep, we're going to be doing some follow-up with the state to find out where those funds are.
Okay, thank you, Marvin. Deb Nofke, you have a question on this?
Yes, an emergency management question also. Didn't we approve furniture or shelving in public property because there was all this extra money in the budget, and now there isn't? So what is up with that?
Brent?
Well, it wasn't because it was extra money, it was taken out of their 1%, which is still, the rest of that money from 1% has gone to offset the funds used, because we didn't get the grant funds yet. But at the time, before we closed the books, there was money in the 1%, and that was before we did close the books on that we took that out of the 1%.
So from now on, we should wait until we close the books before anybody can spend any 1%. I guess that's, because obviously there wasn't extra money. Is there any 1% left in that department now?
No, not after this. We will be looking at changing this up a little bit, where if they're going to use 1% and the books aren't closed, we're doing a little closer look at where their accounts are. This one got taken to the committee, and I really didn't know a lot about it before it went there, so.
I mean, it just shouldn't seem like you should be able to spend and then ask for more. That's a shortfall. It just...
Better, Deb?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Let's see, Kathy Lipke, you have a...
My question is, if we get the grant, will the contingency fund be made whole?
Those funds would go into this year's plan, so then if those funds actually come in, we would actually hope they'd be over next year, and then those would go back to the contingency fund.
Okay, thank you.
There, Kathy? Yep. Okay, let's see. That's it, my other light went out. Anybody else comment or question on resolution number 29-17? Arlen Tober.
Yes, I'd just like to make a comment on it. And all of these here is legitimate overruns. And if you go to work and look at $28,000 out of a $58 million budget, I think the county did pretty good, and the rest of all the departments did as good as can be expected.
Okay, thank you, Alan. Anybody else? Okay, I see no lights, so if you are then in favor of resolution number 29-17, you would vote A at this time. If you're opposed, once again, you vote nay. (26A), 1 nay, so resolution number 29-17 has been adopted. Item 11 on our agenda is resolution number 30-17. Please, Pam.
To approve Shawano County being the lead county in the region for the READY program. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that it approves Shawano County being the lead county in the region comprised of Shawano, Langlade, and Menominee counties for the Rural Economic Area Development Initiative, READY program, submitted by the Finance Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Tom Mattson. Is there a second? Second by Kevin Conrad. Arlen, could you comment on this one, please?
Yes, this year Shawano County would be taking the lead of Shawano, Langlade, and Menominee counties. This is for Rural Economic Area Development Initiative, and it's a block grant that comes in from the federal government to NUCAP, and NUCAP is one of the few CDOs in Wisconsin, and they will be doing the money on that, but Shawano County will be the lead person and the lead entity and then taking care of it, so.
Okay, thank you, Arlen. Brent, you care to comment on it?
All this is we are essentially the fiscal agent, as Arlen has said, and we will be handling the funds. There's 7 counties, I believe, Gene, in the NUCAP area, and we were approached by NUCAP about being the fiscal agent for these 3 counties, because we didn't want if you'll notice on the next resolution, the Community Development Block Grant, that fiscal agent is Langlade County, and they did not want to have both Community Development Block Grants in the same county. So that's why NUCAP approached us on this.
Thank you, Brent. Anybody else? Comment or question? Marvin?
I was just wondering, who in Shawano County or which department handles those funds? Does that just go through administrative? Is it?
Okay, thank you.
All we are is a pass-through. We just hold the funds and then delegate it out as they see, so we're the ones keeping track of the money.
Okay, anybody else? Comment or question, please, on resolution number 30-17. I see none, so if you are in favor of resolution number 30-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (27A, 0 nays), so resolution number 30-17 has been adopted. Moving on to item 12 on our agenda. We have resolution number 31-17. Please, Pam.
Request to continue funding the CDBG housing program in the federal budget. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that it requests federal lawmakers to continue funding the Community Development Block Grant Program, and to have a copy of this resolution be sent to all Wisconsin senators and members of Congress representing the state of Wisconsin, submitted by the Finance Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by John Zwizik, seconded by Mark Boland. Once again, Arlen, could you comment on this one? This is what we've been working on for I don't know how many years already.
Yes, we've been doing this for quite a few years, and then it got switched into a regional, and there's quite a few counties went together on it, and Langlade County, I believe, is lead county on this one. But the way it sounds, they're thinking about removing this block grant out of a housing program from the federal budget, and this year is asking them to leave it in and continue funding it. It's for people that where the houses are kind of in rough shape and they don't have any money, or older people can live in their houses and by getting it fixed up, or where there's a family with young children or handicapped children in it. So it's a very good program. We'd like to see it keep on instead of being dropped from the budget.
Right, as Arlen said, this is a good program. We've been working on it in the Finance Committee for I don't know how many years, but it's money that comes into the county, and people can apply for it. And we actually had another company that would look at the applications and send those applications that were low to moderate income, parent families with children that were handicapped. Some things, and a lot of things that we replaced with this money would be like a roof, windows, lead paint was always one big thing if you had children in the house, electrical systems and stuff like that. So it's a good program. That money that's invested in those homes basically stays there. They don't have to pay it back unless they sell the home. If the home is sold, the money comes back to the county and we reinvest it in another home or so forth. So it's a good program. Gene Hoppy, do you have a comment or a question on this?
Yes, I went around for New Cap to different places we did weatherization. These people are so grateful for us doing something for them. It's really tear-jerking, and I think it's a good program, and I'm for it all the way.
Okay, thank you, Gene. Anybody else, comment or question on resolution number 31-17 at this time? I see none. So if you are then in favor of resolution number 31-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, once again, you vote nay, please. A1 nay, so resolution number 31-17 has also been adopted. Moving on to item 13 on our agenda, we have resolution number 32-17. Please, Pam.
Authorizing entry into an intergovernmental cooperation agreement relating to the Wisconsin Investment Series Cooperative and authorizing participation in the investment programs of the fund. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that pursuant to sections 1 through 5 below of this resolution, Shawano County shall join with other municipalities participating in the Intergovernmental Cooperation Act and shall invest funds from time to time as Shawano County sees fit in accordance with the Intergovernmental Cooperation Agreement and consistent with Chapter 66 of the Wisconsin statutes. Submitted by the Finance Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Kevin Conrad, is there a second? Second by Arlen Tober. I would ask Brent, we have Michelle and we have Josh in the back, but Brent, if you could lead off, and Michelle?
Thank you. Last month, we changed our policy to allow us to invest at $250,000 instead of having to go with a bank that has CDARS, which is Certificate of Deposit Account Registry, and that actually, on those rates on that, the banks that we could choose from were two, and we were getting 0.63 and 0.85% interest on the highest. And what this does is, I had told you last month about one of the options that I was looking at was going through U.S. Bank as our custodian of our funds, and then myself, who's not qualified to be an investment broker, looking at the different funds. So we looked at some things, and one of the programs that myself, Nita, and actually the Finance Committee were very much in favor of was going through PMA. PMA is endorsed by the Wisconsin Counties Association. They've worked with many school districts and maybe 19 counties, 17 counties. And what they do is they will work with us, and their fee, and I know it's going to come up, is a small amount. It's on $250,000, I think it's $650 or something like that on each investment. And they will tell us, okay, we have this CD that's come due, and how we should invest in this one. And, you know, looking at our numbers on just a rough draft, we're looking at an increase of about $250,000 to $270,000 over the price of all of our CDs, because right now we have $7.3 million in our CDs. But I'm going to let Michelle talk about how the investing works and all that, so.
Great. Thank you. Good evening. You're moving right along here. I feel bad. I do have 45 minutes of prepared remarks. But again, I'm with PMA, Michelle Weiberg, and we are administrator, marketer, and investment advisor for WISC, the Wisconsin Investment Series Cooperative, which is an intergovernmental agreement. To join WISC does require enactment by the county board, which is why this resolution is before you this evening. The intent of WISC and why it was founded in the 80s is to provide investment services and cash flow analysis for local governments. As Brent mentioned, we work with 210 local governments in Wisconsin, 17 of which are counties, so you would be 18 if this resolution is approved this evening. WISC is governed by a board of commissioners, so not only does PMA have oversight by the Securities and Exchange Commission, regulatory oversight, but we also have oversight by this Board of Commissioners. They dictate some of the services we provide to local governments and the fees we charge for those services. As we look at providing these investment options to Shawano County, everything will be competitively bid, and all of those investments would be not only state statute allowable, but also comply with the county's investment policy. The competitive bids that we take would be shared with the county staff, and every investment decision would be made in tandem with them. So we look forward to working with you. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Anybody have any questions of Michelle?
Can I add one thing?
Go ahead, Ben.
I inadvertently left out the treasurer. The treasurer was also involved. I'm sorry, Deb, I didn't mean to do that. But myself, Deb, Anita met with Sarah from PMA, and then she came and presented, so I apologize, Deb, for leaving you out.
This, in my opinion, this is an ideal route to go because not only are we going to hopefully increase our revenue interest, which would greatly help our budgeting. It seems every year we end up with a shortfall and we have to ask for additional cuts, but this would certainly increase our interest revenue, which certainly isn't going to hurt nobody. It would help out our staff, help out the county, so I think it's a win-win situation, but my soapbox thing. Deb Nofke, do you have a comment or a question on this, please?
Just one. The $650 or $675 amount that was quoted on a $250,000 investment, was that over the life of that particular CD? Was that an
Yeah, I think that is over the
annual?
life of it. And that was something that you discussed with Sarah at Finance Committee, correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
and that's what I wanted to make sure was
Yep.
clear with everybody.
Yes, yes. So our fee is determined as a percentage against that investment. So let's say it's taken from the yield that you would receive. So if you're looking at a CD that is yielding, let's say, 1.25%, your net yield would be 1.1%, the difference being our fee. So it's not an out-of-pocket cost, it's just kind of nets out the interest income that you receive. And so she tried to quantify that for you on essentially a one-year investment, I think, of $250,000, and that's where she came up with the $625, I believe.
And that's in, if you only figure a low percentage, one-year investment, if you would go 2 or 3 years, your percentage would be higher yet, so it would be a greater return on the dollar, correct, Michelle?
Yep.
Let's see, where are we going to go? Bonnie Olson.
I apologize if it's written in here, and I must have skimmed over where I didn't see this, so I'm going to ask the question, and like I said, I apologize if it's written and I didn't read it. When you say we join this, are we, is this for a time, a certain time that we are joining, or, I mean...
For as long as you want to be part of it.
So we are not...
You're not bound in any way.
Okay, and the other question is, do we have an exclusive commitment to use you?
No, you don't.
Then we can use you along with anything else we would like.
You bet, you bet. The one thing I would add to that is make sure we're just aware of that, because we don't ever want to see you in a situation where you have double placement, meaning we've got you in the same bank thinking you're FDIC insured and somebody else put you in that same bank.
Sure.
That it, Bonnie?
Yep.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Nita?
Just know too, with Deb's question on the $650, that's half of what the fees we pay now for Cedars. So, no, we're reducing our expenses along with raising our interest rates by doing this program.
Thank you, Nita. Tom Kulza, you have a comment or a question, please?
I don't have a calculator along, but, so if they do this with every CD, and every CD is $250,000, we're going to be paying them roughly $18,000 to $20,000 a year.
Not all of our CDs can do it at the same time, Tom.
But I say, if every one of them becomes an annual, we're going to have, say, roughly 30 CDs. And 30 CDs, that's $600 a year. If everyone's an annual one, that's $18,000.
Like Nita just said, right now, we are paying $1,200 for every CD to have Cedars insurance. So essentially, and that's, we have 11 CDs, I think. Is that right, Deb?
Yeah.
11 or 12?
There's 11 of them.
11 CDs, and we're paying $1,200 on each CD for the Cedars insurance.
Okay. Is that money going to stay local then, or is it going to be gone?
No, and that's, it will be put, some banks could be local, some will be around, and this goes back to what I was talking about. With going with the $250,000 security, FDIC, they will invest and get us, and some of the banks might be in Florida, some could be here in Shawano, some might be in Green Bay, some, you know, but even our local banks are not local anymore. I mean, BMO Harris is a Canadian bank, Associated Bank is not a local bank, Premier is not a local bank. Is it? Okay, Premier is a local bank, but, so we have one bank and the only local bank that I know of that's a local bank is the one in Gresham. Is Bonneville? Yeah. Okay. The one that's building out here, so, I mean, you know, we significantly limit ourselves, and then we're not protecting ourselves under the FDIC insurance by staying completely with the number of local banks we have. But we will be looking at every bank, and they all get an opportunity to bid on every CD.
All right, because when I talked with a gentleman at Covantage, they would take the whole thing. And they were...
We don't want all of our money in one spot, though, Tom.
No, but they would take the whole thing, and I think the guarantee they were offering would be a good guarantee.
Well, like Michelle just said, we can use this risk thing, there's no obligation for us to invest in it. It's just an opportunity to tie in to get more CDs available to us. And to Bonnie's question, we can use whoever we want to invest our stuff, we just have to let them know.
That is Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Tober.
Yes, right now, we're only investing in two banks. They're the only ones that'll even bid on our CDs because of the Cedar program. And that's why we're coming in with this very low amount of interest that we're getting from there, about 65 or 85.65 or 85. And by getting out into this program, at least we can get money for, put it in all banks, any bank we want, and this company will go to work and keep checking out the banks and watching them and making sure that they're not going busted or something like that in easy terms.
Yes,
So,
right. And I'm sure Sarah explained this at Finance Committee. I mean, certainly there is a lot of focus locally, you know, so everything is competitively bid. Local banks can get first shot at everything. You're going to see, staff at the county is going to see all of that data, all of the yields that they would be offering, all of the yields that would be offered on a national basis. Any bank that we are approaching, yes, we've already looked at their credit and making sure that we would want to put $1 in that bank on your behalf. So we're doing that credit work, bidding it out, casting the net wide, and at the end of the day, you may keep the net narrow, you know, who knows? But it kind of depends on what that feedback is.
Michelle, would you happen to have numbers as to if we invest for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, what that may be percentage-wise?
Current rates?
Yes.
I did not bring today's printout. Josh back there, did you happen to bring anything from the current market?
I know Sarah had some
Yeah,
numbers
I've
she
got the ones that
presented.
Sarah had, but I don't have this week's. It probably hasn't changed all that much. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, so taking a look at, for example, a one-year CD, the top 10 yields we saw in the network of banks ranged from a 1.05% to a 1.1%. Going out 2 years, 1.2% to 1.45%. Going out 3 years, you can get to 1.5% or more. We also look at U.S. government agencies and treasuries. So if those yields are competitive as well, again, it's got to meet the criteria of state statute allowable, as well as your investment policy, as well as your own internal goals in terms of when you need the cash. So those are all the things we'd be looking at when we bid out, whether that's a 30-day term, a 60, a 90, 1 year, 2 year.
Okay, let's keep moving on. Dennis Knack, do you have a question of them?
I was just wanting to make sure that whatever we make by increased revenue from the investments, we'll get a report around budget time, and it's applied to the budget for relief for whatever, instead of just being absorbed.
Jerry? Dennis, the treasurer provides that on a monthly basis to Finance Committee on what all the CDs are yielding and everything like that. That is certainly not a problem, and I agree with you 100%. That's something that we need to keep you guys abreast of as to show you that this is working, since we changed from the CEDARS program to just going with the FDIC insured, and I agree with you 100% on that.
Okay, moving on. Kathy Lipke.
My question, your fees, are they a set fee or is it variable for whatever funds or?
It really is variable depending on the type of investment. So for CDs, the fee ranges from as low as 15 basis points, 0.15%, up to 35 basis points if we are having to dig in deep and look at collateral, for example. If it's a simple FDIC insured CD, we're going to be towards the lower end of that range that I just talked about.
So it's a variable?
It is variable, and again, and it depends on whether we've got to dig in and really examine collateral agreements because you're exceeding an FDIC amount, which is more than likely not going to be the case.
But your rates have not changed in...
No, those have been set in the WISC by WISC for as long as we've been part of WISC, which is over a decade.
Anybody else comment or question of Michelle or Brent while we're up here? I personally think it's a good way to go, and if we can, and it seems positive that we can increase our revenue, interest revenue, it's the way to go, and actually there's not going to hinder our treasurer, it's going to help her, it's going to help the Finance Committee, so to me it's a win situation.
Thank you.
Okay, seems that there are no other questions, and I will call for, if you are in favor then of resolution number 32-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (27A, 0 nays), so resolution number 32-17 has been adopted. Moving on to item 14 on our agenda, we have resolution number 33-17. Please, Pam.
To change Good Friday and Christmas Eve from half-day holidays to full-day holidays. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that they approve changing Good Friday and Christmas Eve from half-days to full holidays as noted herein above in this resolution, and the Personnel Policy Manual shall be revised consistent with this resolution, submitted by the Administrative Committee.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Kathy Lipke, seconded by Bill Swatala. Comments or questions? I'm going to call for Kathy on this one.
I've been pushing for it. Let's be honest. If you're here for a half a day, you're not going to do anything. You're going to visit. No, let's be realistic, take the day off, and that's how, personal feeling, I better be quiet.
Okay, I did have a couple people in this building say that they would rather have work Good Friday but have off all of Christmas Eve. But, you know, I told one individual, this was in front of admin, you should have come and expressed your concerns there. So, anybody else comment or question on this resolution, please? Tom Madsen.
Just real quick, as a former county employee, I think this is a good move. I think we have a good bunch that works for us, and I think it's great for morale, and it's long in coming. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Tom. I would admit we have a great workforce and we're getting better ones right along. Deb Nafke.
So the courts are basically closed on Good Friday and Christmas Eve, are they not?
The courts can be closed anytime the judge wants to close them.
Okay.
I know
I'm just
that.
wondering if this is going to coincide with,
I guess they will schedule things to make sure, and let's face it, they have plenty of notice right now. Christmas,
The last whereas clause addresses that too, Gary.
the last whereas. Did you read the last whereas, Deb?
yeah, which drives the question. I mean, it's either a day off or it isn't, you know.
I think maybe once staff are accustomed to this, I think it's going to make a big difference too. Being that they never had it, now they will get it, I think it'll help. Anybody else comment or question, please, on resolution number 33-17 at this time? I see none, so if you are then in favor of resolution number 33-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (27A), 0 nays, so resolution number 33-17 has been adopted. Item 15 on our agenda, we have resolution number 34-17. Please, Pam.
Approve amendments to the Town of Heartland's official zoning map. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that it approves the official zoning map amendment for the Town of Heartland as follows: rezone from agriculture and forestry general to commercial on a 7.5 acre parcel, submitted by the Planning Development and Zoning Committee.
Could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Steve Gates, seconded by John Vuzick. I'm going to call on Steve Gates since he made the motion and he's on that committee. Would you please comment on this one, please?
Yes, this is a thing that's set up by the statutes, even though Heartland is now under their own zoning. They were under prior county zoning, and according to the statutes, the county board has to approve any zone changes, even though the town itself is under its own zoning.
Okay, thank you, Steve. Let's see, John Ainsworth, do you have a comment or a question on this?
Question, I guessed at the answer, but is this adjacent to the one we just approved recently, so it'd be in a commercial area? This is entirely separate, another commercial area?
Yes, Bob Jacobson is shaking his head like this. It's not adjacent.
Okay, it seems like, I don't know, if you're going to have zoning, it seems like it should have been grouped, but it isn't.
Okay, thank you, John. Anybody else? Comment or question on resolution number 34-17? I see none. So if you are then in favor of resolution number 34-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (26A) 1 nay, so resolution number 34-17 has also been adopted. Item 16 on our agenda, we have resolution number 35-17. Please, Pam.
Approve a zone change for Carl Schinke. Now therefore be it resolved by the Shawano County Board of Supervisors in session this 24th day of May, 2017, that it approves the zone change as follows. Carl Schinke requests zone change from farmland and preservation to agriculture residential on a 7-acre parcel in the town of Navarino, submitted by the Planning Development and Zoning Committee.
Once again, could I have a motion to approve this resolution? Motion by Kevin Conrad, seconded by Ken Capelli. Ken, could you comment on this one, please?
This one has been approved by the town board of Navarino and the zoning committee. And this property used to be a sand pit, and the sand has been removed, and now they're going to build houses there. So,
Okay, thank you, Ken. Anybody else? Comment or question, please, on resolution number 35-17. I see none. So if you are then in favor of resolution number 35-17, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (27A), 0 nays, so resolution number 35-17 has been adopted. Item 17 on our agenda, we have annual reports. This month we have Child Support Office, Nancy Kramer. If you have any comments or questions on her annual report, please contact her, otherwise it will be placed on file in the clerk's office. Moving on then to item 18 on our agenda, we have report of the Finance Committee on General Accounts. Please, Pam.
General accounts paid April 4th, 2017 through May 1st, 2017 in the amount of $485,810.08.
Could I have a motion to approve general accounts? Motion by Ray Phelan, seconded by Gene Hoppy. Comments or questions, anybody on general accounts? I see none. So if you are then in favor of paying general accounts, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you vote nay, please. (27A), 0 nays, so general accounts has been approved. Item 19 on our agenda is approval of the committee minutes as submitted. Could I have a motion to approve committee minutes? Motion by Tom Kautz, seconded by Richard Furfecke. Comments or questions, anybody on the committee minutes? Bob Crows.
Question on closed session and admin, while it's somewhat vague, is that in relation with this lawsuit that we have going on with
I will refer that to Corporation Counsel.
I know we can only talk so much about it, but I guess, is there a way to update us on where that stands? It's been ongoing.
Funny you should ask. There'll be a large article in the paper tomorrow about it.
Oh.
So anybody who, after reading it, has any questions, please feel free to contact me.
Okay.
I think for those committee members who were involved, and the overall board will be very pleased with what the article says. But that particular closed session item pertains to other things, but it had a lot to do with that particular case.
Okay.
So if you have further questions, just everybody
After
knows
the
where to
article.
find me.
I didn't realize an article was coming out. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we just learned a substantial decision that the court made today in the case, just a few hours ago. So that'll be a subject of a lengthy article tomorrow, I would imagine.
Yeah, if anybody does read the article or anybody does get a phone call, refer them to Tony Cordes. We have no comment right now. Tony is our voice. So, thank you, Bob, Bill.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else, questions on the committee minutes? Deb Nofsky.
Going to back on Bob's question there and Tony's reply. If there's going to be this big article in the paper, why are we supposed to have no comment?
Well, that's an obvious one. I mean, we don't control what the paper does. They have access to the decision. You've got the decision, Deb. Anybody else who wants it, I can certainly forward it to you. And the paper writes whatever they want to. The reason why defendants don't comment is because whatever they say can and is usually used against them at a later proceeding. So, no comment, okay?
Yeah, Deb, we don't know what's going to be in the paper, so obviously we can't comment on it. The best thing to do is refer it to Tony Cordes. It's a safe thing to do it right now. Anybody else? Comment or questions on the committee minutes? We have a motion, we have a second. By acclamation then, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 20 on our agenda, special orders and appointments for this month. Okay, we have Aging and Disability Resource Center Governing Board. We need to appoint Richard Furfecke to replace Bonnie Olson and appoint Joe Stellato to replace Terry Ponchak as a member for a 3-year term to expire May 31st, 2020. Could I have a motion to approve these two? Motion by Randy Young, seconded by Bob Kraus. Comments or questions, anybody? Otherwise, by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Also, the Board of Health Veteran Service Committee, we need to reappoint Deb Lidbury, Rudolph Ryder, and Kevin Culhane for a 3-year term ending April 2020 also. Could I have a motion to approve these? Motion by Roger, good to see you, Roger, seconded by Deb Nofke. Comment or questions on these three appointments? Then by acclamation, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 21 on our agenda is board member comments or new business to be considered at a future meeting. Anybody have anything? I have one thing I'd like to, well, Bob, go ahead first. You've got your button going.
I just wanted to remind everybody, next weekend is Sun Drop Days. That's where Brunch in the Farm is the end of the month.
Yeah.
I'll talk about that at the next board meeting, but what I would like to remind everyone that there's a new festival going on in Shawano, and I encourage everybody to take advantage of that, and it's all local people, and let's see if we can't get out there and support our city here, so.
Okay, thank you, Bob. The thing I was going to bring up, back last year, there was an issue between Shawano County and Shawano County Housing Authority. It seemed that we were getting blamed for things that we have nothing to do with, nor do we want anything to do with them. I received a phone call from a gal that wasn't happy, and I referred her to you, Dennis. Did she contact you? Okay. You helped her?
I met with her.
We met with her, good deal, thank you. Driving through Burnwood yesterday to Antigo, I saw that there is a Shawano County housing sign up. At your next board meeting, would you please remind them that Shawano County has nothing to do with that? So.
I talked about it last month.
Okay, good deal, thank you. Anybody else, anything you wish to be brought up on a future agenda? Okay, I see none, so let's move forward. We are on item 22, is a claim report for Shawano County Board of Supervisors mileage and per diems for today's meeting. Pam, please.
With 27 members, total payment would be $2,456.23.
Is there a motion to approve this? Ray, you always got your hand up. I know. Motion by Steve Geet, seconded by Ray Failing. Comments or questions on mileage and per diems, anybody? Otherwise, if you are in favor of paying yourself mileage and per diems, you would vote A. If you're opposed, you would vote nay, please. (27A, 0 nay), so mileage and per diems has been approved. Item 23 then. Our next meeting is Wednesday, June 28th at 6 p.m. Being that this is our first night meeting, I kind of enjoy it again. Still have daylight, so that's a good thing. With that, there's one one less thing on our agenda, motion to adjourn. Motion by John Zwizik, seconded by Amy Zeinert, by acclamation. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.